Sharpener off of a Globe 150 slicing machine. Three-quarter or 9/16 half-inch tappet wrench and box wrench combination. Washer and paper washer. Paper washer goes next to the stone. Same on the back. Paper washer. I'm going to set these washers aside. Lock nut and washer. Half-inch bolt. Comes off there. Roll pin. Number 10 punch. All right. Pin and spring. Small screwdriver. Remove the set screw on the lever. And it comes off. Rack and pinion. Dry switch. We can remove either one next. On the switch here, there's a spring and ball inside, so you want to have a clean towel handy. Okay, so when that comes out, there's this little tiny screw. I don't know if you can see that. Spring and a ball that comes out of there. So we want to make sure and have this cloth down to catch that. We're not going to take this apart, but it can be cleaned up just like that. Remove the pinion. There's a spring behind here as well. So the spring is what gives you that lever action. Once you take the pinion out, both the truing spindle and the grind spindle should slide out. If the spindles are gummed up and stuck inside where you can't get them out, one thing you can do to help to get those to move is to take a socket. This happens to be a 1/2 inch socket, deep socket, and then you can just tap it out from the back side. So when you go to tap this out, be aware that there's a pin right here that this notch on the spindle rides on to keep it in position. So when you get to that point with this 1/2 inch, you actually clear that pin so you can actually go all the way in with it. If you use one slightly larger, you're going to have to stop before you hit that pin there. You don't want to damage that. So there's that. So most likely, if your sharpener is really gummed up, you're going to have to take the spindles apart and clean them as well. So on the truing spindle, there's 14 ball bearings inside here. So when you remove this screw here, there's a spring behind it as well, so it's going to want to pop out. And then there's 2 retaining washers with the ball bearings behind them, so those are going to want to fall out of there as well. So we're going to be aware of that. So we're going to take our 9/16 box, put it on the top of the spindle to hold that in place, and then we'll take a screwdriver, remove the screw here, and once we get it loose, then we can let go of that, because we want to have a hold of this screw when we remove it. So and we tip it back so that those balls won't roll out. We got the spring and the screw here. And this may be gummed in there pretty well, pretty tight as well. So it might take a little coaxing to get this out of here. And once you remove that, then your ball bearings come out, and then now you can clean everything. And one thing you can do with these balls, if they're really gummed up, and what I like to use is a little WD-40 will actually act as a degreaser. So just put them in a little cup, little squirt of WD-40, and clean those washers as well. And you can use the WD-40 also to clean the parts off. Take a metal scrubber, scrub them up real good. If you have a bench grinder with the wire wheel, that works really great for cleaning these spindles and these parts up, making them nice and shiny like new. So there's 14 of these balls. So once everything's cleaned up, you can put them back together. And I use a 3-in-1 when I'm working with any of these moving parts, and we'll just put a couple drops down in here. Alright, now we'll I'll take apart the grindstone spindle, and there's also a spring. There's also a spring inside of this. So when you remove the set screw here, have a hold of the top of it so it doesn't spring out on you. Actually, that doesn't need to come out all the way, just far enough to release the bearing in here. So this is the grindstone bearing, and there's the parts to that. You got the spring, bearing, outer bearing, set screw. So to do the same thing here, you just take this apart, clean it all up. Little WD-40 will help to remove any rust that's in here. Metal scrubber, a couple drops of oil. Put it back inside there. Work that oil around a little bit. Hold this down, put the set screw back in. Screw hole. So you want to put this in a vise when you drill this, but put it in a vise, take a 1/4-inch drill bit, and you clean those holes out really nicely so that pin won't get stuck inside there when it's back together.